Hello everybody! Needed a change of scenery. It's kind of loud in the house and I wanted to do a quick video for you guys. So I decided to come outside and get some exercise and walk while I'm doing it. So what I wanted to do, and one of the reasons I've been doing these videos, is because I want to answer any questions that people have. I find myself online a lot answering the same questions over and over regarding child-led learning, unschooling, and things of that nature, interest-led learning, passion-led learning, whatever you decide to call it. But I find myself answering these questions and saying the same thing over and over again. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And so I said it would just be great if I used my YouTube channel to actually answer these questions. And anytime anybody had a question, I could just post a video to it. Now, obviously, I'll engage in conversations and stuff like that, so I'm not trying to be like anti-social or anti-social media. But I just wanted an easy way to answer the question, so I'm not like repeating myself 500 times in the same groups or rooms or stuff like that. So I wanted to answer the most frequently asked questions that I get, and I thought I would do this while I was walking and getting some exercise and getting out of the house for a moment after a very active day with the kids. Let's see, it's getting a little dark, so I better do this quick. What is child-led learning, or what is unschooling, or passion-led learning, or interest-led learning? Basically, it is following the interests, passions, desires of your child. And it does not mean the child is the boss and the child rules the home. But there is a difference between radical unschooling and people that consider themselves unschoolers or child-led learners. Radical unschooling takes on a form where I guess you can call whole life learning, where the unschooling process or the it's an entire lifestyle that encompasses parenting, the whole entire household, things of that nature. So that's probably a more radical unschooling description. I'm not a radical unschooler, and so a radical unschooler would probably better describe that. I don't want to misrepresent myself. What we do is child-led learning, interest-led learning, passion-led learning. The reason why I use the word unschooling, number one, because it's shorter, and number two is probably the closest thing to what it is that we do. However, the difference between a lot of unschoolers and what we do, we generally have chores or bedtimes and things of that nature that kind of make our massive family tick. I will say this, that studying and getting to know more about the unschooling philosophy has helped us change the way that we parent in a very good way. And so I can say that I have gleaned a lot from radical unschoolers. Although we are not radical unschoolers, I have changed a lot of my parenting styles. And has not been easy, but I have, and it has definitely changed our family. However, most of what we do is in the learning realm. As far as our household, like I said, we still have bedtimes and stuff like that, but that's kind of the gist of it. What it is not, and I'll say this, a lot of times people assume when they hear unschooling, they assume that basically the child is the boss, the child calls all the shots, they do absolutely everything, and the parent is just kind of following around behind them, you know, like a little puppy. And it's not like that at all. And some people also think that it's getting kind of loud down here, so I'll go back. Some people also think that unschooling, where it's completely hands off, and it's totally not true. I'll be honest with you, I was a very rigid, very traditional homeschooler before we transitioned into this lifestyle. And I will tell you that my hands are more on than they have ever been. Before I would teach my kids something and they would work independently and they'd be done and we would move on with our day with traditional hours, and learning starts here and ends here. And I tell you what, now we're to the point where learning takes place 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all year round, and there is no time period. There is no time limit. They are learning all the time. And as parents, we have to be ready and able to jump in and help them explore no matter what time it is, no matter what they're doing. We have made the commitment to say, you know what? They want to know about this right now. We're going to find whatever resources we can find, whatever we can do to help them with that particular problem, activity, whatever it is that they're trying to figure out. We're going to do that right now. Okay, so it might be Sunday at 9 p.m. and they ask us a question that we don't know the answer to. We're going to delve into it with them. So I have never been more hands-on, and with 6 kids, you better believe that I am running all day, every day, providing resources, giving information, looking up information, answering questions, asking them how I can help them. It becomes extremely hands-on. So you might have some unschoolers or child-led learners that are more hands-off, and maybe they allow their kids to do all of the investigation and things themselves. And I know that will probably come as my children get older. Right now they need assistance in knowing what resources are available to get the answers, and so we're kind of in that stage right now. So what unschooling is not, it is not hands-off parenting. And a lot of people have that misconception, so I wanted to clear that up. But I had a person ask me just the other day, so do unschoolers do any kind of lesson planning? And the answer to that is yes and no. And I'll explain that. No, not in a traditional sense that we are saying we're going to learn this and this is everything, all of my materials and books and things that I am going to introduce to my child on this particular subject on this day in this way. However, when our children show a vested interest in a particular topic, a particular person, event, subject, animal, whatever it is, at that point we gather all the resources that we can possibly gather and allow them to explore those interests in their time and in their particular way. And so it's not a forceful, scheduled type thing, but we allow them to explore those things. But we're the gatherers. We're hunters and gatherers and coaches, so to speak. So that's kind of how that works. We are planning after we see and we observe and we watch what it is that they're looking to get into and interested in. So, transcripts. Oh, this is a big one. So many people ask this question about transcripts, and I'll tell you, one of my favorite things, and most people that know me know I love Evernote, but you can use OneNote, which comes with a Windows package. You can use really lots of different office software that you can utilize that would allow you to organize things in a fashion such as Evernote. But I use Evernote and I take pictures daily. I have a video on our YouTube channel about unschooling with Evernote, and it will be very helpful for those that are wondering, how in the world do I keep track of my children's learning? How do I create transcripts? Well, I use Evernote to do that. We take pictures, we take links, we take videos, we basically record every single activity that all 6 children do all day, every day. So I'm taking pictures all day, making my rounds, figuring out what they're into, helping them, providing resources, taking pictures, recording what it is that they're doing, what they're learning. And in Evernote, it allows me to tag what particular subject or topic that particular thing that they're interested in falls under. And so that is an instant transcript for me, and it also ends up being a instant I guess you can call it a yearbook, an annual yearbook. So it's really exciting to be able to do that. It has multiple purposes for me, and that's how I create transcripts, and it's very helpful, very useful, and it works. Lots of people use it. Not every unschooler does that. Not every child-led learner does that. I have met people that have done that, follow an unschooling method or a child-led learning method, and they don't do anything like that. And when it is time to create a transcript, they pull things together at that point. I'm a little anal where I feel like I want to do it as I go instead of having to do it at the last minute and remembering all of that stuff. It's obvious that children are learning. You don't have to force children to learn. They do it naturally. But it's important to me. It's probably more for me than it is for anyone. I live in a state that it doesn't have to be reported, but I record my children's learning anyway, in the case it ever did. So that's always an option for those that feel like they have to have something to show for what's happening on a daily basis. College. I have questions from people regarding college, and this is so funny to me because people really assume, oh my God, if your child doesn't want to go to college, well, that's a really great method to follow. Well, even if a child does want to go to college, helping a child pursue their passions and their interests is not the opposite of college preparation. So there are many, many, many hundreds of thousands of people that follow a child-led learning or unschooling method that attend college, or that even do dual enrollment before their college years begin. So you say, how do they do that? Well, obviously, I told you how they create their transcripts. Some wait, some utilize software such as the ones that I mentioned. But it's important to recognize that if you are recording and you are keeping track of what your children are learning, then you are able, just like any other homeschooler, to create and prepare the information needed for college transcripts. It's really not difficult, and people do it all the time. So you shouldn't allow that to scare you away from this method of learning. A lot of times people ask, I want my child to be competitive. I want them to be able to compete in this global market regarding, learning and jobs and things of that nature. Well, competitive really is relative. It depends on your child. It depends on the direction that your child is going. It depends on the career path and the passion that they have, what area in which they need to be competitive. Now, I will tell you this. I would be much more competitive, I guess you could say, in my life now had I started when I was 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, even 12 years old, focusing on my passion. So how much more competitive can you be than having passion? Because passion drives you to seek out the knowledge, to seek out the classes and the courses and the information and the mentors. Passion drives you to do the things that make you competitive a whole lot more than information read to you out of a book. So that's all I have to say about that, is that competitiveness really has nothing to do with choosing this particular method or not. Ready for real life. Well, all I have to say about this particular topic, will my child be ready for real life? How much closer can you get to real life than allowing them to experience real life now? And what I mean by that is, and a lot of homeschoolers, do a lot of hands-on things with their children, but it's important to recognize that when you give them real life, hands-on experience in math, hands-on experience in all of these things that you want them to be able to experience in real life, if you give it to them now, how much more would they be ready for the real life of which you speak? So that's pretty much how I feel about that. I mean, give them real life now and they'll be ready for real life when it's time for them to be on their own. Isn't it expensive? Well, I think any homeschooler gets this question. Isn't it expensive to be able to provide all the things that your children need? Yes and no. It depends on how savvy you are. It depends on how resourceful you are. It depends on how creative you are, whether or not it's expensive or not. So that depends. It's family to family. How many activities you decide to sign your children up for, how many, the types of interests that your children have can depend sometimes on how expensive it will be. I have one particular son who has interest in engineering and in science, and so his gifts and the things that we purchase for him are a lot more expensive than our other children because of his interest. So that really is relative, and that can be for any homeschooler, no matter what you're doing. It really depends on your savviness, your creativity, your resourcefulness, where you live can make a difference as well. It can depend on whether or not you feel the need to sign up for multiple classes that cost, or you find out a way to expose your children to that particular thing free of cost, looking for free activities. So that's a question that can be answered only by an individual person and the vision that they have for their homeschool. What about gaps? Very good question. This was one of the main questions that concerned me, and I have 2 videos on my YouTube channel that would explain a lot about how child-led learners learn math and how child-led learners learn to read. These particular videos I think would be helpful for anybody that is concerned about gaps. Yes, I pay attention to gaps, but what happens is that when they appear, I figure out ways to work them in to what it is that they're passionate about, what it is that they are currently studying. So when I find those gaps, especially in reading or writing, those are very easily worked into whatever they are currently reading and writing. No matter what it is, they could be passionate about duck-billed platypus, or they could be passionate about, cheetahs or marine biology, or whatever the case is. Those are things that you can fill in those gaps and help them become, I guess you can say, fluid in those particular areas. As far as math is concerned, those gaps would have to be filled in, especially as they get older, depending upon what it is that they are going to be pursuing. Obviously, I have a child that right now, she's very young, wants to be a doctor. If she continues that, then obviously I'm going to make sure that she has everything in her path and available to her to be able to be competitive or have the information she needs on that level. So if she wants to be a doctor, I know that higher levels of science and math are required. I will let her know that this is the path you would have to follow in order to be able to be successful in this particular area. If this is what you want, this is what you would have to do. So what I would provide for her would be different than what I would provide for someone that wants to be an artist or something else. So it really depends. Homeschooling or unschooling does not mean completely hands off, let them do whatever they want to do. It simply means following the lead of the child. So if you have a child that is very artsy and loves to write and loves to do those things, then let them pursue those things. Make sure they have what they need for life, obviously, with hands-on life experience. But it's also very important to help them pursue the things that they are really passionate about. So if they're passionate about medicine, they know they want to be a doctor, they're very confident about that particular direction, then you're going to give them what they need to pursue that. Whether you're unschooling or not, you're going to allow them, because of their passion, to pursue the things that they need to gain that knowledge and to pursue that career. So it doesn't just mean, oh, we do nothing all day. Absolutely not. Okay? So watch those 2 videos if you're interested in learning more about how to fill in gaps and worried about reading and math and things of that nature. I think they'd be helpful to you. What if their passion changes? Then we change with it. I have had a couple of my children change gears, and they're all young. All of my children are under the age of 12. So if they say they want to be a doctor today and then they change that to a marine biologist 3 years from now, then we're going to switch gears with them. One of the things that I also have a video on my channel called what's the name of it? What is strewing? And that will kind of explain to you what it's like to help your child gain the resources that they need for the things that they're passionate about. And it also explains to you how to wait until they have a vested interest to spend a lot of money and to use free resources beforehand to kind of wet their whistle and see if the interest develops. So if their interests and their passions change, then we change gears with them. And that's the beauty of it, that they're able to learn and grow and seek different interests and figure these things out. I mean, most of us as adults, how much further would we be in life had someone allowed us to really follow what it was that made us tick really early? I'll be honest, I would have loved that, because I found myself spinning my wheels as a young adult in my 20s, going in a direction I really didn't want to go, because I thought I needed to please everyone else. And when it really came down to it, I didn't want to do what I was doing. I didn't want to study what I was studying in college. I had no desire to do it. I just thought, I said I wanted to do this all my life. This is what my parents are expecting of me, so I need to go ahead with it. And I wasted a lot of money and a lot of time. And so if we can save our children that money and that time, why not? Start now. Even if you are a homeschooler and you prefer a more traditional setup and block scheduling or whatever it is that you do, it doesn't mean that you cannot loosen up a little bit enough to give your child time to pursue their purpose and their passion. So, when their passion changes, we change. What if they get bored? Well, boredom is the bed of creativity as far as I'm concerned. I love it when my kids get bored, because that's when they get the most creative. So I wouldn't worry so much about that. I do actually have a board on our homeschool closet that has 25 things that they can do when they get bored. It's called the Mom I'm Bored list. And so basically just a list of all the things that they can do when they get bored, or when they don't know what to do to fill their time. I make suggestions. I will hand them something, or again, that's where strewing comes in, to give them more information and resources to try to pursue things that you think that they may be interested in. So these are questions that I wanted to make sure that I answered. I hope that I answered them for you. If you have any further questions about any of the things that I talked about, because I know this was a quick video. It's getting a little cold out here too. But I think that I think I covered everything. But I just wanted to do that and come to you guys and let you know that, have any other questions, let me know. You know, again, I don't consider myself the guru upon gurus of child-led learning, but I'm learning. And as I learn and things work for me, I like to be able to share that with you guys, and just really share what has worked for us. And if it works for you too, then great. And if there are just parts of it that works for you, great. And if it's not something that you're into, that's great too. Whatever works for your family and for your children. I just want the best for you and for the beautiful babies that you are teaching and raising to be great world changers. So thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe down there. And leave any comments if you need any comments. And if you have any further questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.